Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the Wheel of Time Season 2 on Amazon. And I did not really like this season. I understand that adaptations need to change things because you're going to be going through different kind of source material. You have to figure out what works and what doesn't. And this whole season really didn't work for me. I don't think there are enough episodes to deal with the stories and the characters that are in here. The main thing that I liked was what they kind of did of fleshing out a little bit of the Forsaken's characters and the costuming and design. We do fall into the trap that the capabilities of what can be done with the One Power kind of fall almost into force push kind of territories. It's whatever kind of really happens when you try and showcase crazy kind of powers in a real world kind of setting. The only one that really worked at the end was the whole dragon banner thing that kind of worked on. That's like the biggest kind of CGI move that they've got. Other kind of ones like the fades and the Trollocs still work well enough, but when you're seeing them try and showcase like the amazingness of the One Power, I would almost think that it would have been better off to go in an animation kind of format and just animate the ever-living shit out of it, kind of similar to Invincible, because you could do a lot of different kind of shit in that medium, whereas you can't really do that much here, because you then have to have actors detailing and working with it. There were just so many weird fucking changes and like not understanding anchoring of where we are in the world of the Wheel of Time. Like, I understand that teleporting and shit goes on in the Wheel of Time as well. It took a little bit longer to kind of get there, and granted, it's been a while since I've read the books, but this was just complete nuttery. Perrin's and Matt's suffered the most. It was essentially Perrin doing wolf things with the Bears kind of minimum, and Matt even being less and just getting stuff plopped on him pretty much at the end. He spun in the Wheel of Time until they were like, here's some shit for you, bro. And it's just, alright. Min then got tacked onto his shit for some fucked up reason because I think they just needed her to do something. We get really weird drama with Moraine and Lan, which I don't like. The basis of it, of like her being stilled and her, the bond and the trust and everything kind of fractured between them, has potential, but it's execution, and the execution in this thing is not good to me. All right, if you enjoyed it, you had fun with this season, power to you. Enjoy it. Love the Wheel of Time. Go for it. Okay. But here, it's just like, it felt like manufactured drama. And again, as I've been reviewing, I look and try and see, is this the actor or is it the content? Because I like Moraine's actress. I like the actor. She's able to do a lot of stuff, but she's really not given much, and then just pretty much told to act like high and mighty Moraine. Lan, this is the first kind of thing that I've seen him in, but like, I don't really feel that it's like him, it's like the content and the direction. That gets really much into the effect of what we get into with Egwene and the Suldam from the Shanchan, where I don't think the Suldam... Rana? Rana, yeah. I'm not seeing her actor in anything else. But I didn't really get that. I didn't really like what she was saying. Not basically trying to make Egwene a slave and everything. That's not the issue. It's just it felt really not well put together, and then directed very strangely. It's like, all right, why are you having her kind of do it this way? And she felt very flip-floppy because, again, we don't have many episodes, so we don't have that time to kind of like get that kind of thing between, oh, I'm trying to be really good to you. If you act well, you'll get really rewarded, versus then shifting into, I'm going to cut your fucking tongue out. Kind of shit if you don't follow orders. it's just all over the place and just not really a good representation of the hunt for the horn, in my opinion. Uh, First, Rand didn't fake his death fighting uh, the Dark One, which we learn is Aishamel, and I like them delving into his motivations more. We get him. We get this scene of 3,000 years ago where he is pretty much captured by Lews Therin, and that Aishamel wants to end the Wheel of Time. He wants to break the wheel because he wants to die, and then we see the kind of cruelty of Lews Therin, where it's like, just seal his ass up. I know you want to die, my friend, but what can you do? And like, god damn, like that kind of punishment, that's nuts. But that's pretty much what he's doing. He doesn't like all the suffering and everything that's been going on, and which is ironic because he's causing suffering and chaos and everything like that. And bringing in Lanfear. Then at the end of the season, we get the rest of the Forsaken, but Lanfear is hooked up with Rand, going by Selene, which is alright because the thing is, I understand that these characters start out as the like almost teenager trope and they don't know much, and that's fine. However, when you just keep it as that trope and barely give them enough of their kind of personality and their characters, it's where it starts to fall flat. It's like Rand, typical kind of chosen one, kind of dealing with stuff. Perrin almost becomes a void black hole of, I'm just going around with these guys for the horn. I've suddenly now got wolf power kind of things, and I'm going to go save my friends. Like, you don't really get much of his flavor, and I don't really fault that on the actor. It's mainly the content and the direction, because there's not enough time, and we got to do the stuff with Nynaeve, being unable to channel and having that drawn out. Egwene, at first, in the first half, trying to feel, okay, I'm not as powerful as Nynaeve, sorry. And then having Elaine thrown into the mix, and Liandrin, for some reason, has become an anchor kind of one to try and utilize and try and bring Nynaeve to the Red Aja, which doesn't really make much sense because she's a wisdom, so she'd naturally be kind of more inclined to the Yellow Aja, and trying to like buck her off of that is just alright. And evidently her motivation of being a dark friend, because that's another thing, the reveal of people being dark friends, they don't have enough time to have those reveals have as much impact, because she's a dark friend, because of her son, and Lanfear's like, I'm gonna help your ass out and kill your son. Lorraine's family, her nephew is a dark friend, and he was supposed to take her out. Well, we find out that she's actually not been stilled. She was just super shielded by Aishamel, and that Rand is able to look into it and then undo it. So then she gets her power back to do the dragon thing at the end. Sorry, there's just so much weird shit that starts going on. Logain's popped in and is pretty much teased to be teaching Rand, but then kind of just drops for no fucking reason because we don't have enough time and we're dealing with bigger kind of plot things that we have to reconfigure. Mat is locked up by Liandrin for a little bit, then is like into a cell next to Min. They kind of escape together. Aisha wants him to go to Falm to pretty much kill Rand, but Min tells Mat about that, and he decides to not do that, and then gets captured instead still, and taken to Aishamel, and he's like, hey, use this dagger thing, and he's like, whatever, and then just pretty much wraps the dagger around a stick, and that's how he gets his spear shit, and he blows the horn, and he's like, yeah, I'm a hero of the horn, and we see this one dude that was with Perrin die, he's like, yeah, I'm a hero of the horn too. It's like, I understand it's supposed to be this big kind of moment, but it falls like a fucking wet fart in a thunderstorm for me. Now, if you liked it, and you're like, that's how it should be, that's cool. I'm not saying you're wrong in liking it. It just did not work for me whatsoever. I'm like, he's got the Shadar Logoth dagger strapped to this thing, and the action scenes were just, some of them were alright, but overall, it's just your typical kind of action scenes with a lot of different kind of cuts and trying to like make cool action, but the choreography didn't seem really that well done. Land stuff was at least decent enough. Match stuff, alright. It's just, okay. The Sean Chan were kind of interesting, but we don't really, again, have enough time, interestingly enough, the Wheel of Time, to kind of delve into them. They got the long fucking fingernails. Suroth is really kind of stuck into this little kind of fucking hole, and Turok gets like uber blasted by Rand because Rand's like, all right, I gotta deal with this shit. I gotta save my friends. It's essentially Empire Strikes Back. I gotta go save my friends because Lanfear was able to use Teleran Riod, the World of Dreams, to showcase kind of what was kind of going on. Perrin kind of understands the world as well. Elias kind of showed him the stuff of like being wolf dude, but he's like, I'm gonna go save my friends. And then for some fucked up, crazy ass reason, is able to hook up with Avienda, which is really deep in the wetlands. I don't remember, like, it's really kind of weird because I'm like, what the fuck are they doing over here? In all this, it's just accelerated and completely crazy. I'm like, they were like up in the east quadrant of shit going on before. How the fuck did they get all the way over here looking for the horn? Because Perrin, Loyal, and Ingtar were looking for it. Uno gets killed, and then Hero of the Horn. Loyal and Ingtar get captured and are pretty much servant slaves to Suroth. Aishamal's trying to like rally the forces and wants the dragon to turn to the shadow, and is utilizing the friends to kind of do that. Rand auto kills pretty much Turok and the rest of them easy, and then he pretty much gets shielded by Suroth, and then Egwene tries to kind of help him. Egwene's bit of being a Damane, I get what they were going for, but again, we needed more episodes so that way it wouldn't feel like a time sink of this, and it just felt almost like how I felt reading her going through and getting paddled all the time. Now, I don't mind a character being put into a situation and understanding how they deal with it. It's just sometimes when you're going on it, it's like, I kind of get this. Can we do something else? Like, we don't have time for this. We only have 8 episodes. I understand what you're trying to do to showcase the Suldam and Damane relationship and what's kind of going on. And then Egwene and, like, not even Elaine pretty much have to spin again to kind of wait for their turn to kind of deal with this shit. And Egwene finding out that, like, Rena can actually channel and be like, oh no, you just have so little ability to channel that they didn't fucking really find you. It's like, yeah, but also I think they would have been better off to be like, to utilize the wrist thing system that they probably have to have an ability to channel since they're like Tirangriel or Angriel. I'm sorry, it's just confused me to a point where I'm like, ah! To utilize it and go back and forth with that, and it was really kind of dark that Egwene just like let her die. I'm like, I get that. I get that she treated you horribly and as dirt and shit, but if you keep going around doing that kind of stuff, And then we get the fight with Aishamel, and it just did not present well. It just felt really weird. I'm like, this is one of the Forsaken. One of the most powerful channelers from the Age of Legends. And it was just so on the nose of Loyal being like, oh, this is our age. We have to be the heroes of this age. And again, I don't have a problem with what is said. It's the execution, delivery, how it's directed. It's like, okay, go for it. And then we get pretty much everybody trying to help out. Rand is shielded, but Moraine's able to get him out. And then Aishamel's pretty much in front of him. Matt tries to like thunder throw his dagger spear, but it instead hits Rand. He's like, ah, shit. And Elaine pops up and is able to kind of heal him a little bit, but of course it's Shatter Logoth kind of shit. And then Rand just like utilizes his sword, puts it on fire, and then just stabs Aishamel in the heart. It's like, oh, there's nothing there. But of course that's not the end of him. And then Lanfear's like popping around and be like, oh shit, Mahigdan is out, and so are the rest of their Forsaken, just auto done like that, which is like, alright. Which just seems so super fast and everything. It's just, alright. But we see that the Dragon Reborn is proclaimed over foam and getting more kind of stuff going on. We'll see kind of what works out. Nynaeve being like going through the accepted kind of thing and getting to accepted that fast was just like, why are we doing this? I don't mind adaptation changes if they kind of make sense and the condensing of certain kind of story and plot points works for the story that's being told. Here, we have such a cast of characters and things that have to happen with certain ones to get them to certain kind of points that you have to be careful in what you give them. Because Matt was pretty much screwed over until the end, and he's like, he drank this thing, he's like, here are my past lives. He blew the horn, he's like, I'm here on the horn, and it's like, alright, I don't have a problem with him blowing the horn, because he's connected with the horn in the books as well. But it was just like, we had to wait 7 episodes to the 8th episode to get his stuff done. What the fuck's gonna happen when trying to do stuff with him with Tuon? If I'm pronouncing that correctly, the Shan-Chan Empress. Sorry about that. Ugh. But, oh my god, it was nuts to watch, because there's certain actors that are still able to do the stuff that they need to, like Varen Sedai, detailing and kind of working around in the background, seeing Suan and Sanchi as the Amerlin seat, dealing with everything going on with Moraine. It's like, shit, where they like butt heads with each other because Suan wanted to pretty much chain the dragon and bring him out as a weapon, and Moraine's like, I ain't having that shit. But Varen Sedai going around and dealing all this kind of stuff, it's like, if you had 10 episodes, 13 episodes, 16 episodes, 22 episodes, these things would work out. But when you don't properly put the plot that you've got into the time frame that you've got and like interweave them well enough, it just feels like, are we going to get payoff with this, or is this just going to be a waste of time? Because a lot of this stuff, you could literally cut a lot of Matt's stuff and just have him pop up out of nowhere, just be like, yeah, I was just going around, fucking around, and then these motherfuckers came out here and found him, and I just fucking stole that horn and said, you know what, fuck this shit, I'm gonna blow it. You know what I mean? It's like, whatever, shit's going down, shit's getting real, let's see if this shit works kind of shit. Like, literally, you could just... I felt that there was no real movement on his front, no good character growth. Min was pretty much just utilized as a plot device for Aishamel's kind of shit, whereas Aishamel could have just been like, I'm gonna wait for that motherfucker to just pop up and then just let him do shit, to be honest with you. And Aishamel, it's really kind of bad when they hear, like, I'm not saying that you should intentionally fuck over your villains, but when the villains get more kind of plot motivation than kind of the heroes, which I get it, Rand going for his friends and everything, it just follows to, I didn't really feel much of Rand in his actions, more of the typical kind of chosen one kind of writing. What I mean by this is, Aishamel is exhausted with the cycle of rebirth and death and everything that goes on with the wheel and wants to end it. We get at least an understanding of that kind of character with all the kind of things that have been going on with him. Lanfear loves Luz Theron and wants to see if she could pretty much get that back from Rand, and only pretty much made the pact with the Dark One to kind of continue that kind of effect. These two have a lot of interesting kind of dark side kind of shit of, hey, these people were friends with Luz Theron and everything kind of went to shit. Why did that kind of happen? That's the interesting kind of stuff. But then I look at the new Age of Legend ones that we've got here, and it just, Perrin's screwed over. He just essentially goes anger mode as what they kind of want for him, because Hopper gets killed and he just kills the dude that killed the dog. Matt's really got nothing. Rand pretty much follows the chosen one kind of shit and is like, I don't fucking really want to deal with this. Granted, he does that in the books. It's just, there's not as much in here for him. And Egwene, they're still trying to kind of like figure out what to do with her. It's just, there's other kind of things. Like in the books, I really felt them as characters. The Expanse series, I feel them as characters. It doesn't feel like I'm watching a overall plot. We just got the kind of stereotypes, like we need a character like this to do this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? Whereas the plot is forcing a character to do a certain kind of thing. And I understand that is kind of a point of the Wheel of Time of like, are they choosing, is this fate? Are they destined to do these kind of things and continue on as this goes on? But I just, the way this adaptation is executed and presented just doesn't do it for me. I get bored with how this stuff kind of works out. There's not enough time to deal with all the things that they are juggling. And if that's the case, cut down the stuff to what you really actually need for the story that you want to tell with this adaptation of the Wheel of Time. If you don't really want to do anything with Perrin, remove him. If you don't really want to do anything with Matt, remove him. If you don't really want to deal with Rand having 3 wives, focus him on one love interest. And just, like, pare down roles and stuff. If you need and want to make those changes, fine. But you gotta commit to them, and then just don't be, like, trying to ride 2 horses with one ass. Where you're trying to, like, make the Wheel of Time adaptation with 8 episodes a season. And I understand they're expensive, and I understand the stuff that goes into it. But this is a book series that, if you're going to give these characters their due, like this in the series, because Avienda, Elaine, Min, Rand, Perrin, Matt, Fail when we get to her, all this stuff with the Aiel, I feel like they're gonna be fucking screwed over here. The Shan feel like they've been fucking screwed over as well, because we don't have as much information on them as we need. And I'm not saying that I need info dumps completely and utterly right away, but I don't think that we're going to have enough time to get the properly paced things that we need. The pacing is just, we're going at 100, babe! And we got to escalate fast because we've only got 8 episodes. This was just an exercise in frustration for me. They want to make the adaptation they want. That's fine. That's cool. It just doesn't seem like it's for me, and that's alright. If you like it and you love it and you're loving it, go for it. I never want to take that shit away from anybody. And I always need to say that, especially when I'm really not happy with certain kind of things of what's been going on in a show or whatnot, or whatever I'm reviewing. Also, if I like something and anybody doesn't like it, that's cool too. I have no problems with that. You don't have to like what I like, and I don't have to like what you like. It's just, I was mainly like, alright, let's kind of see what goes on with this. I'm just like, well, I gave it the 2, and there's other kind of things that I'd probably look into. Now, granted, with the writers and the actors strikes, we'll see kind of what pops up with this. I would rather go and deal with, like, One Piece is one. One Piece, that I'm holding up as a really good example of an adaptation. That has a lot of fucking shit in it, too. And they made changes that worked. Like, they cut down, they reconfigured shit and tightened shit up for what they're trying to do. Now, granted, that's been going on for, like, fucking ever. But it's nice, it's a good kind of counterbalance to this one. You'll be like, what's going on? You like this one that made changes? Yes, because they were able to fit them within the realm that worked and execute them in a way that worked for me. Granted, there are people that probably hate the One Piece live action. That's fine, alright? You don't have to like it. I think that its adaptation changes work better than what's going on here. Because all I'm seeing is problems, and sure, you can claim your differences and your adaptations, and that's fine. Barring anything where I'm, like, in a drought or whatnot of what to kind of watch, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go through this with a 3rd season, man. I don't even know if it's going to get a 3rd season. Now, granted, it just finished up, so the results of these being told, I mean, the writer's strike is tentatively over. We still have the actor strike going on. We don't know how that's going to affect certain kind of things. We'll see how it kind of works out. So, we don't know. But this was just something that, like, I liked what they were able to do with the villains. I don't know how that happened. And their presentation and execution. And I liked costuming and effects with certain kind of things. Like, at least how that looked. Other than that, I really wouldn't recommend this. And you're probably, now I'm towards the end of this thing, and you're like, hey, you did this, like, pretty much you did this review a lot differently. And I was like, yes, because I've instituted pretty much a new kind of policy. If a show does 2 or more episodes as a premiere, I will then wait for it to be done and review the season. Because otherwise, I then have to take the time to watch one episode, hold off a little bit, and then review it. Then I've got to watch the other episode, hold off a little bit, and review it. Because I would like to minimize bleed over as much as possible in that kind of instance. Otherwise, I then have to thunderload one review with 3 episodes worth of things. Now, granted, you're probably like, hey, you're doing the same thing with this kind of season. Yes, season reviews do have those downsides of condensing and making it to see that you can't really effectively dive into certain kind of aspects that you probably would if you went episode to episode. However, with what went on with Perrin and Matt and Nynaeve and Egwene and pretty much all of these stories, I think that the season kind of review worked out well enough in that I got to see the conclusion of their stuff and be like, this isn't really working for me. And how I'm like, okay, I gave it its chance. Here's where it did for its season reviews. This was a mess. So, those are my opinions on this season. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.